Okay, guys. So the name of this sermon is going to be called Manipulative Maybe. Manipulative Maybe. And this sermon is going to be on the subject matter of manipulative relationships. Now, I know a lot of times people, when they talk about bad relationships, they usually talk more specifically about abusive relationships. But this is going to be about manipulative relationships. And this doesn't really get emphasized enough because I think when talking about abusive relationships, one of the signs is manipulation. And so to have a relationship in which there's manipulation but not really physical abuse or necessarily verbal abuse, as what some would consider verbal abuse, then they just look at it as, okay, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not necessarily something to warn people about. It's not necessarily something to emphasize or really focus on because there's no actual abuse. But even though manipulation is only something that's really focused on when it's in an abusive relationship, it's still something that is bad. It's still something that is unhealthy for a person. It is still something that a person should not tolerate on a regular basis in a relationship. So it's also something to be warned about as well. Just because a person is not getting hit, they're not getting beat on, maybe they're not crying every other night, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just something to overlook and throw out the window and sweep under the rug. This is still something important to address. So we're looking at manipulative relationships, how some people thrive off of simply manipulating you. In fact, let me even go as far as to say this. There are some people out there who they know that they're manipulative and they know that they do you wrong in a relationship. And what they'll do is they will purposely do anything and everything to you but abuse you. Why? Because they know, come on, they know that it's going to be overlooked by other people outside the relationship. Not always, but a lot of times certain folks, quite a bit of folks will overlook it. Because as long as there's no punching going on. Come on. As long as there ain't nobody with no black eyes and busted lip, then a lot of people will just overlook it. So they feel like they can get away with more. They can hurt you more by simply being manipulative and doing any and everything but actually physically abusing you. You see what I'm saying? They feel like they can drag the relationship out longer and get over on you longer and easier and go by more undetected from outer sources. No one on the outside is going to step in and correct them, tell them what they're doing wrong, arrest them, take them to jail, right? So they feel like they can really hurt you more and do worse to you and drag things out longer if they're just manipulative, but they do everything but actually hurt you. They'll do any and everything to press your buttons and push your limits, except the very thing that will get them locked up or the very thing that will cause others to see that they're the bad guy. And the reason why many people are manipulative, like what I'm about to describe in this sermon, is because they get like a high from it. They feel like they can get control out of it, and so it makes them feel empowered. They love it. And so a lot of them, you got to understand, some of them might have something wrong with them mentally, but some of them, they know what they're doing. Listen, they may not really be crazy. They just pretend. They pretend like they don't see what the big deal is. They act like what they're doing isn't anything for you to be upset about. So they're going to do whatever they can that they think they can get away with. For some folks it's just for fun. Some people do it because it was done to them before. Come on. So they're taking out their past anger or past hurt out on you. But regardless of their reasoning for it, they know it's wrong deep down, but they have to be the victim, not the villain. They have to be the victim. Even though you're the victim, even though you're the one being manipulated, they have to be the victim. Now, sometimes they can be the hero or the good guy, but for the most part, if the crap hits the fan and you tell people about how they really are, they're going to twist it and they're going to make themselves out to be the victim and you the villain instead of the truth, which is the other way around. So if you're following along in scripture, there's only 2 verses we're going to look at. Just 2 verses. One's going to be in Exodus 22 and the other one is going to be in Matthew chapter 5. Exodus 22, Matthew chapter 5. So Exodus 22, verse 21 says this: Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. And vex here, which is going to end up being the key word for this sermon, and it won't make sense till later, but vex means things like this. It's translated from a Hebrew word that means things like this: to oppress, to suppress, to treat violently, to maltreat, or to do wrong. So this text is saying, do not do wrong a stranger. You were once a stranger to someone before. So if you should do right by strangers, how much more should you want to do right by someone that you supposedly love, that you supposedly care about and want to be in a relationship with? Right? So you wouldn't want to vex them. Now, some may be listening and you may be thinking, well, that's kind of a weak verse to open up a sermon like this with. You need something that's really going to be like, pow. Okay, I get it. But listen, this verse is going to come into play later in this sermon. So later, at the end of the sermon, I'm going to come right back to this because there's something in here that I bet you don't see. You don't see it yet. But when I point it out, you're going to be like, that's good. So hold on. Just hold your horses. Hold your horses. We're going to get back to this verse here in a moment. It's going to be good, I promise. But right now, real quick, I want to go through some of the signs of things that will show you whether or not you're in a manipulative relationship, or rather some of the things that you may also look forward to. I don't mean in a good way, looking forward to, but I mean things that you should expect to see. That might be the better way to say it, but things you should expect to see play out in a manipulative relationship, and what the end result of it could be if you try to end it, and what you should do to finally 100% put an end to it and walk away. So first, there's different things. There's there's going to be 5 D words that'll play out, and in some relationships, possibly a bonus D word. But before I go through each one of those D words of things that are going to play out in a manipulative relationship, let me first say that one of the first things that you'll see will be manipulative maybes. Well, what do I mean by that? Okay. Well, we know what maybe is. If you ask somebody something and they say maybe, it's not really a yes or a no. It's just kind of in the middle. It's like, well, it's possibly yes, possibly no, but I can't tell you which one right now. It's just kind of in the middle. It's just maybe. Well, if we know that, one way to better understand a manipulative maybe, first we got to understand that there are different types of maybes. Not all maybes really mean the same thing. So I'll give you some example. I've typed up like a whole page of notes. So chill out and listen. Now you're gonna see why I'm sitting down in this sermon, because this isn't one of my jumping up and down preachy messages. This is me really just trying to teach and give you details and to just really expound on something, because you might not be in this type of relationship, but a lot of people know someone who has been or is or about to get into a relationship like this. So real quick, here are different types of maybes, okay? So there's the just in case maybe, what I call it, just in case maybe. So how does a just in case maybe work? Maybe you've got a parent and they've got a kid, and the kid really wants to go to the park. Oh, I want to go to the park. I want to go to the park. So the parent, they've been wanting to take them to the park for a while. They've been promising their child they're going to take the child to the park one day, and they got a plan to take them on a particular day, and they say, okay, I'll try to take you on this particular day coming up. And right when the day is about to come up, the child's like, are we still going to the park? Are we still going to the park? And the parent really wants to take them to the park, but they recently heard that the weather might be kind of bad that day, right? And it might be their only day off this upcoming week to take them. So the parent wants to say yes because they really want to take them, but they also know that there's a possibility that something could go wrong, the weather could go bad. So they may say, maybe, we'll see, maybe. And it's like saying, I want to say yes, and I really do mean yes, but there's something that could happen that's out of my control that could possibly make it a no. So I don't want to say no, and I do want to say yes, but I don't want to say yes and then something go wrong, and then it looks like I'm lying when I say, well, no, we can't go when that day comes. So I'm just going to say maybe. So it's a just in case something goes wrong. I'm not going to say yes, I'll just say maybe. It's a just in case maybe. It's understandable. It happens. We do it all the time. It's a just in case maybe. Totally understandable. Then you have the I don't know maybe. It's the maybe that we say when we mean I don't know as the answer to something, but we don't want to say I don't know. Right? Maybe it's a pride thing. Maybe we just don't want to admit that we don't know something, or maybe there's another reason why we feel like we don't know, but we don't say I don't know, so we just say maybe. Instead of just saying I don't know, we're just like maybe. And then some people are honest. They'll say both. They'll say I don't know, maybe. So there's another type, and then there's the too scared to say no maybe. It's when somebody asks you something and you don't want to say yes, but you're too scared to say no because you think that's not what they want to hear. So you just leave it at maybe. Right? Somebody asks you to do something, you really don't want to do it. So you don't want to say yeah, but you don't really want to say no because you know that's not what they want to hear. So you just say maybe. Right? So there's different types of maybes, but then you have a manipulative maybe. What is a manipulative maybe? A manipulative maybe is when you do know the answer. Deep down in your heart, you got a yes or no, but you refuse to say it. You feel like if you say no, you can't get what you could possibly get out of somebody if you were to say yes, but you can't say yes because if you say yes, and they're doing something, you feel obligated to do something as well to play your part in a relationship. Let me be specific here, in a relationship. So what some people do is when you're first starting to come together, maybe you've been dating, or maybe you want to take the relationship to another level and be officially, boyfriend and girlfriend, or, something along those lines. And so you have somebody who now they're about to really unleash themselves and show how they really are. So now almost every answer they give is always a maybe. They start just giving you maybes, but they're manipulative maybes. And what it is you're asking them something in which they feel like they can't say no, because if they keep saying no, like somebody, two people, they're in a relationship. One of them, they're really wanting to dig into that person's mind. They're wanting to get to know them deeper. They want to know more personal things about them, not to be nosy, but because it's a relationship. You really want to know that person. You want to know what makes the person happy. You want to know what makes the person sad. You want to, because you don't want to do something to upset them. You want to make them happy. So y'all been talking, and they're funny, and they may crack the joke, or the good looking person got some stuff going on for them. Y'all talking, that maybe you feel like there's some chemistry or something. I don't know, but then it seems like as soon as that closeness is starting to really happen, and something is really starting to really play out in this relationship. This relationship could be going to next levels, and you really start going there with them, going deeper with them, and all of a sudden now everything's maybe. You want to know more about them? Maybe I'll tell you later. Maybe. Let's go out to this place. Maybe. They didn't mind hanging out with you in private, but now when it's about going out in public somewhere where they'll be seen with you, now all of a sudden, maybe. Everything's a maybe. You open up to them and you tell them about your past, and you want to know about them, and all they can tell you is maybe. But it's always a maybe. There's never a right time. Everything's a maybe. Everything. We don't get me wrong. Nothing's wrong with maybes here or there. Sometimes we just don't know. But what I'm saying is when the signs of a manipulative relationship is progressing, everything's a maybe, but it's always a manipulative maybe, even when it comes to questions in which the answer should be obvious. It shouldn't be something to really think very hard about. But they always got questions for you. See, that's the thing. They always got questions for you to answer. And they're always so demanding that you answer them. But when you ask something, it's always a maybe. But when you don't have an answer, they get frustrated. And they have the right to get frustrated, but you don't. See, they want to know all this about you, and they want to know what makes you tick. They want to know what presses your buttons. See, you want to know so that you know what not to do, but they want to know because to them it's what they do want to do. See what I'm saying? So they're being manipulative. So they get to a place where there's a line, and when you try to go past that line, they push you out, but they always want to be in your personal bubble. They don't want you. They don't want you to have them boundaries. Not what they have. So everything's a maybe. So it's a manipulative maybe. They can't keep saying no because they know it's going to turn you off. And eventually you might kind of drift away, lose interest. But they can't say yes and start opening up more and going out with you more and telling them more stuff about themselves. And if they say yes, they have to open up the way you do. If they say yes, they have to tick for tat, so to speak. They gotta vibe with you. It's gotta be a back and forth thing. It's gotta be both of y'all doing this, right? But if they leave it at a maybe, right? They leave it at a maybe. It keeps you waiting on the edge of your seat. So you're thinking, oh, well, I'll go first. Let me tell you about myself. I'll go first. Let me do this. I'll go first. Let me show you that. So you're doing all these things, and you're saying all these things, and you're expressing all these things. And they get frustrated when you don't. They're so frustrated. You know what I mean? But when it's their turn, maybe. Maybe like, but and this is when you really know it. It's when they say maybe with an attitude. Maybe. Okay. So manipulative maybes. Okay. So now the D words that start playing out. The first one, double standards, which kind of goes together with manipulative maybes. So double standards. Right? Because remember I said they can give you the manipulative maybes, but you can't. You got to, you can't just say maybe. You got to say what you got to say. or else they're gonna get frustrated. So double standards. So here's some examples of double standards. A, you have to give a solid yes or no, but not them. You have to give a solid yes or a solid no, but not them. So again, it's tying in with manipulative maybes. So now here's another one. B, lack of communication on their end. Emphasis on their. In other words, you entertain while they just watch. That you will notice there will come a point in the relationship where it's all about you entertaining them, you making them. See, at first, y'all, they may say a few funny things, you may say something, but now there has come a point very quickly and suddenly out of nowhere where it's all about you making them laugh, and it's all about you. They don't want to dance with you, but they want to watch you dance. They want to watch you do this, but they can't watch you do anything. They want to watch everything you do and see everything you say. They adjust options on social media to where you can't see what they're doing and saying, but they got to watch everything you're doing and saying. Here's one. They got to see the text messages on your phone, but you can't see theirs. Come on. It's all about you entertaining them and talking to them, but you will find a sudden lack of communication on their end. They just look at you. As soon as you ask them something or say something, they just look at you. They just change the subject. Or they give you that rude maybe. Then if they got long hair, they just unnecessarily just flip their hair at you. Come on, if it's a woman, right? If it's a dude, man, why are you tripping? Why are you tripping? Oh, you get on my nerves. Why are you tripping? All you did was ask them, did they have a good day? Just anyway. C, the next type of double standards is this. They can date or flirt with others, but you can't. Uh-oh. Come on. They can see somebody. They can be talking to somebody else, flirting with somebody else. They can see other folks. And if you find out or you confront them, you're misunderstanding, or you just have an attitude, or you're just jealous, or it's whatever. It ain't no big deal. This is just what people do, right? But don't you dare do something like that. Don't you dare do something like that, or it's over. Because as soon as you do it, you're untrustworthy. Anyway, which leads me to E. D. If you do date or flirt with others, you're unfaithful and can't be trusted. So you can't do it, but if you do it, you're the unfaithful one. You can't be trusted. You're just like everybody else. You're just like all my other exes. Anyway, and then finally E. Your friends can't know anything, but their friends know everything. Uh-oh. See, some of this stuff, some of y'all, when y'all first heard what this sermon was about, y'all were thinking, oh man, this doesn't apply to me. I ain't never been in a relationship like that. I don't know nothing about that. Now some of y'all are probably sitting there thinking, dang, I've been through that before. I'm sure you probably gone through something like this before. That's how it is, though. Their friends can know all y'all's business. They can know what y'all talk about. Their friends can read y'all's text messages. Come on. You confide in them, you tell them a secret, now their friends know. They come to your house, they tell all their friends what's at your house. Come on. You got a bad habit. They now your all their friends know about your bad habits. All of it. But guess what? Your friends can't know nothing. They don't want to tell you nothing. And they don't want your friends to know nothing. You listen, you find yourself going to your friends for advice. Man, I don't understand this. What do I do? Blah 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 blah. You and your friends trying to figure stuff out. Meanwhile, them and their friends, they got it all figured out. They don't want you telling other people their business, but they're telling their friends all yours. So now their friends are sitting around talking about you, laughing. Come on. Hey, I've been there before. I've been there before. I know how that feels. I know how that feels. You're really interested in somebody and they're playing you like a fiddle. And they friends sitting around talking about you. Come on, laughing. Next thing you know, you see them out in the street and they just put their head down, they just laughing. And you wondering what's so funny. Never mind. That's something I know something about on a personal level. I know that one right there. I know that one. I know that one. I do know that one. So what else is on the list? So that was the first D, double standards. Now, number two is really 4 D's put together. So these are the last 5 D's or the last of the 5 D's, the last 4 of the 5. So the first was double standards. And now number 2 on the list is deceit, discord, drama, and division. So the first was double standards. Say it again in case somebody's taking notes, because somebody probably really should take notes on this one. Some of this stuff is obvious to some of y'all, but some of y'all thinking, let me write this down. Or let me write this down because somebody I know needs this. So the first one was the double standards. And number 2 is 4 D's together. It's deceit, discord, drama, and division. So this is what I put. Listen to this. They do and say things out of deceit to sow discord in your healthy relationships, just to sit back and watch the drama unfold and feel empowered by the division. So let me break it down. First, I put they do and say things out of deceit. And deceit just means, deception, trickery. They're lying and being pretentious, pretending things. And so they're being deceitful. They're deceiving. They're tricking. They're doing a lot of lying is what they're doing. They're lying, and then they do that thing where they take the truth and cut half of it off. They leave information out. And it's like the old saying goes, a half truth is still a whole lie. But anyway, right? Or they take the truth and they do this thing where they twist it. So they're either lying, giving half truths, or giving a twisted truth, or a combination of it all, right? But they're being deceitful. At first, they could just say stuff to folks about you, but when they start really trying to make you look bad, they start being deceitful. So what they'll do is they got their own friends, right, that they're saying stuff to, right? But then what they do is they seek control, they seek domination. So what they do is, you know how when you're in a relationship with somebody and you get to know their friends, but then they get to know yours. So what they do is they find out who your friends are, not just by who you talk to, but they watch social media and all this other stuff. They ask people questions about you to see what other people know. So they try to find somebody that might be kind of close to you, that may know something about you. And so they start getting with friends, old friends, new friends, it don't matter. And what they do is they sow discord in your healthy relationships. See, the relationship you have with this manipulative person is really unhealthy And so they see you've got healthy relationships, and so one of the things that they do for control and to easier manipulate is they start getting into your healthy relationships, whether it be friendships, family, just somebody you've known for years, just whoever you got a good thing going on with. You know what I mean? Y'all are good. Somebody you can trust. So they start trying to get close with them on the sly and finding out stuff. Come on. And so then they start planting what I call snake eggs in their head, whispering stuff to them and being deceitful and telling them lies about you and telling half truths and twisted truths, telling them stuff and leaving certain information out, telling them, oh, well, your friend said this to me and they said this about me and they said this and that about you and blah, blah, blah. And they're leaving all kinds of stuff that they done did and said out of it. They make you out to be the bad guy and they make themselves out to be the victim. And now all of a sudden, people that were close to you, they're acting funny around you now. Or they don't really talk to you as much anymore. And you can't quite figure out why. It's because let me say it again, they do and say things out of deceit to sow discord. They sow discord among the brethren. Come on. And when you sow discord, you reap discord. I've talked about that more than once in past sermons. Sowing and reaping what you sow. The Bible lets you know that discord, and I've explained it, it's not just something you do or perform, it's something you sow. Discord is sown. So if you reap what you sow and you sow discord, that means that when a person sows discord, eventually they will reap it. Karma, as people of the world say. What goes around comes around. That's what you put out there. That's what you're going to get back. So that's why their lives are full of drama. That's why they always have to go out of their way to say, oh, I don't like drama. I don't like drama. Drama just likes to follow me around, but I don't. But they're always in it and they're always stirring it up. Right? Okay. So let me say it again. They do and say things out of deceit to sow discord in your healthy relationships, just to sit back and watch the drama. Because eventually something's going to explode in your healthy relationships. You and the people that you were so good with, y'all get into it about something stupid. Or they'll stop talking to you but be mad at you and have something against you and you won't know why. So drama unfolding because of the discord. The discord was sown and then it grew like a bad weed, and so now it's drama. It went from just seeds of discord to drama. An explosion of drama. So they watch the drama unfold and feel empowered by the division, because now there's division. Now people that you were close to, now there's separation, there's division. People are divided against you. And now it makes them feel empowered. They got that I got you right where I want you mentality. So now you ain't got no friends to tell nothing to. But now they got their friends. They got some of what was your friends. Uh-oh. And so now they're all like robots, controlled by what this person that you're in a manipulative relationship with has said and is saying about you, because of their deceitfulness. They're full of deceit. So those are the 5 D's. First, double standards, and then there comes deceit, discord, drama, and division. I even had a dream one time. I won't go into detail, but somebody really started some stuff between me and healthy relationships that I had. And I was being shown how they had stirred stuff up. And when I looked back, I saw them, And so there's stuff going on here, but when I look back, I saw the person who had started the stuff, and they were literally sitting back watching it, just like no big deal. Now you see why I worded it that way. They will sit back and watch the drama unfold. Okay, we're gonna move on. So those are the 5 things. Now here's the bonus D word I said that there could be. The bonus one is this right here. You ready? Divination. Sounds kind of like division, but divination. Divination. Some of y'all, you may not know what that is. If you're someone that's in church a lot and you've heard people preach and harp on different types of witchcraft, you've heard this word before. And if you don't recall it now, when I explain it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember Bishop, Pastor, Reverend, Deacon, so and so preaching about that. You recognize it when I explain it here in a second. So divination. Usually when people talk about it, they call it the spirit of divination. What is the spirit of divination? Spirit of divination is brought in through certain types of witchcraft, such as fortune telling, uttering of spells, and soothsaying. So this is why I said this is a bonus one. This might not be in every manipulative relationship, but if you are in a manipulative relationship with somebody, listen to me now. If you're in a manipulative relationship with somebody who either is into stuff like fortune telling, reading the tarot cards, trying to read people's palms, trying to look at stuff through the crystal ball, if they're into that type of stuff, or they like to they're always going to somebody that can do that type of stuff. Oh, you in for it now, baby. You thought the relationship was manipulative now? Oh, buddy boy. Ooh, wee. Buddy boy. Oh, and here's something else. See, some folks, they get into that stuff, but see, some folks, that stuff, it's a family thing too. Some people, one person in the family gets started on it, the rest do. The mama gets into that type of stuff, and then she starts showing it to the kids, and then it just gets passed down generation after generation. And it's bad regardless of if it's with men or women. But boy, when it's women, let me tell you, that you start seeing women that do stuff like that, and every time you look up, the men that gets attached to them, like the mama gets a boyfriend or a husband and everything's fine, and next thing you know, that dude done went crazy, done flipped his lid, and now everybody in the town say stuff like, man, that dude was just fine until he got with that crazy woman. Right? You heard something like that. He was fine till he got with that crazy woman, and then they say the last name of that family. He was fine till he got with that woman of that family of the so-and-sos. Come on. And then when he got with her, next thing you know, he lost his mind. He lost his mind and lost everything else. He lost his home. He lost his job. He lost his money. He lost his mind. He's out here walking the streets. Come on. He don't know nothing but to just drink all the time. He done lost his mind. Never mind. Now every time a dude comes in, every time a dude comes in and dates somebody in that family, it's just like they just lose it. They just lose it. Family full of beautiful women, every other one of them is a witch, and every time a dude gets with them, they just lose it. And people keep seeing that pattern, but they can't figure out why that stuff keeps happening. That's why. Never mind. We gonna move on. We fixing to move on. We gonna move on. So, a spirit of divination. So, if you want to find places in scripture, I won't take you there, but I'll show you where you can see it and you can look into it. You can study it out yourself. I think it's good sometimes to leave people with something they can study out for themselves. I'll show you where it is, but sometimes I want you to, do some digging yourself. You got to study to show yourself approved. I love to study. I love to teach and break down stuff. But every now and then I like to give you something where you got to do it, because you got to study and show yourself approved. Not unto me, but unto the Lord, because you got to answer for yourself one day. So Acts, the book of Acts, chapter 19, starting at verse Acts 16, starting at verse 16. So if you look at Acts 16 verses 16, I say through about 19ish, you'll see a story of I believe it was Paul. The apostle Paul he had his traveling ministry going on, and there was this woman that all of a sudden came up when he was just out traveling about. This woman came up and was just yelling and speaking things, and she wasn't being rude. She was saying some things that may have been true, but she just wouldn't shut up. She just kept saying things almost as if she was trying to come across as prophetic, saying stuff about Paul. And she just kept going on and on to the point where it just grieved Paul. It was almost like it vexed him a little bit. He got on his nerves, boy. He couldn't take it no more. And what he did was he turned and he casted out the spirit, what the Bible calls the spirit of divination, out of that woman. Sometimes when folks have that divination spirit, it's like they try to operate in the prophetic sometimes. They try to know stuff about you and know stuff about your future, which is where see what I'm saying? The whole trying to read the cards and read the palms and trying to watch somebody in the crystal ball and all this and that. See where I'm going with this? So that's what she had. She had the spirit of divination. That's why she was just coming up to him and just going off the handle, saying all this stuff about him. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't listen to it no more. It was vexing him. So he just casted that spirit out. And then it goes on to talk about how there were men who basically had control of this woman, to where when the spirit was cast out, they could get no gains from her. In other words, it was like, I won't say necessarily controlling her, but really using this woman. It was like they were wanting this woman to tell them all this stuff about people, personal information about folks, because they felt like she could tell them stuff about folks because she had a spirit of divination. And when that demonic spirit was casted out, she couldn't just fly off the handle, just, you know what I mean? She just couldn't keep flapping her gums no more about everybody's personal business. So they were frustrated. So they went after Paul and his crew for shutting down this woman, because they weren't gaining anything from this woman no more. They couldn't get no information out of her no more. So what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is this. If you're in a manipulative relationship and you're with somebody who does this type of stuff, or they're always invested in people that do that type of stuff, that type of witchcraft, let me tell you something. Listen, no wonder they're always asking you questions. No wonder they're always trying to figure you out. Because the longer you stay with them, there's somebody else in the background that knows stuff about you too. It might not even be really close friends of theirs that you know of. There may be somebody way out in the background somewhere you don't really know, or don't know that well, or maybe never even seen before, or somebody you ain't seen in years. But there's somebody in the background that knows some stuff about you that you wouldn't want them to know, because that's what that type of spirit brings. All it can bring is just gossip and possibly slander, because all it is the giving out of information about somebody. Come on. The trading of information. Finding out information for gain, for profit. Come on. So okay. So let's go into the results of this. What are the results of being in a manipulative relationship with somebody that maybe they have a spirit of divination, or they're entwined with folks that are in divination, or whatever? So they may seem delusional. They may seem kind of crazy. They may seem, like they just be saying stuff to you, and you're just like, where in the world does this come from? They walk up to you and say some strange stuff in a different language, and you don't even, they can't even speak another language. You're just like, what's that? Speaking weird stuff over you and whispering weird stuff in your ear. And boy, I'm helping somebody with this sermon right here. I'm helping somebody with this sermon right here. I'm giving you some warning signs, so you better listen. B, they get irrationally upset when something doesn't play out like they thought it should or would. What do I mean? You come home with a gift and you open it up, right? And they just get mad and freak out and start crying, falling all out on the floor. What's wrong? I just knew you were going to ask me to marry you. I just knew that you were going to come home and you were going to bring a ring. Notice they weren't mad because they saw the box first and thought something was in it. Notice they were mad before you even came in the door, before they even knew you had a box in your hand. They're saying that they already knew that you were going to come with something. See, it's one thing to present something, and then you know how women get excited, and then you open it up, and then it's not what they thought. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before they even see the box. See what I'm saying? Before you even walk in the door. They weren't even looking out the window seeing you coming. Just as soon as you walk in, before you can pull something out of your pocket, they just run up to you, excited, like a happy puppy dog. Just breathing all unnecessarily hard. Just, you ain't seen them smiling weeks, but they smiling today, boy. They and all of a sudden it's not what they thought, and they have like a 2-year-old temper tantrum, but they be a grown woman. Come on. Mad. I just knew that this would be the day that you would come with a box that had a ring in it, and you were going to get down on one knee. And now, but what made them think way ahead of time, before that day even came, that was going to happen? Now you see what I'm talking about. They out here trying to read your palm and read the cards and look in the crystal ball and try to speak to spirits and try to go to the fortune teller, go to the psychic. Come on. So now every time you try to do something nice, it's not good enough because they were believing something else was going to happen. Or you don't do nothing at all because you're scared to do something because everything upset them. Right? And you don't do nothing, but then they mad because ain't nothing happening. But they go on these long lists. Well, I thought blah, blah, blah. And I just knew you were going to blah, blah, blah. So now you just, you just have that look on your face like, you know what to do. Which leads to C, you're always left confused. You're always left confused. You don't get it. You're always left confused. You're always trying to figure out what you did wrong. How come you can't get it right? You don't get why they're upset. I'll put it to you this way. You know how in some relationships when it's the guy that's manipulative, he'll do or say something so mean to the girl and it'll make the girl cry, and they'll do this thing where they'll act like they don't know what they did wrong. They, you know what I mean? They'll even say, I don't know what's wrong with that girl. I don't know. But they know good and well what they did. In this situation, it's the exact opposite. You literally, for real, won't know what you did. You really don't know. You're not pretending you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't. You do not get it. You don't. You're trying to figure it out. You're not even ignoring her. You're trying to figure out what it is. You don't. You just sitting on the couch, just. you just looking crazy. She crazy, but you looking crazy because you don't get it. So what is the end result of all this? The end result. I done had fun with this sermon. It's been fun. So the end result of all this is this: guilt through false victimhood. They're going to try to guilt you and make you feel like crap through their so-called victimhood or victimship or whatever the word is for them being a victim. Okay. So what do I mean? Okay, here's some examples. A, you're the villain when you change your mind or stance about the relationship. When you finally get to a point where you're like, look, I can't do this no more. I love you, but I'm gonna have to love you from a distance because you done lost your mind. I just can't do it. You're the bad guy. You're the evil villain. You're terrible. You're a horrible person. You know, you done tried to do what you can to make it work. You done apologize 11 times. You apologize when you knew they were in the wrong. You apologize when you just didn't get it. Okay? You did all you could do. You allowed yourself to be taken advantage of, and now you just can't do it no more. You're like, listen, I can't do it. I got to get up out of here. But all of a sudden, they make you out to be the bad guy, and then the victim. Okay, another example. B, they will say things like, "You did me wrong," "You screwed me over," or "You're just like everybody else." Even if you are just like everybody else, because you got up and decided to leave, any person in their right mind would leave. You know. But anyway, but they'll guilt you. That's how they really try. That's how a manipulative man, a manipulative woman, any of them. That's how do you know they're trying to get you, is when they know you're in the right and they know they're in the wrong, but they get you by trying to tell you, well, you're just like everybody else. And they do that because they're trying to make you feel now like you have to prove that you have to stick around and prove that you're not like everybody else. See, I know something about that one right there, because that's something that I've been through. Years ago, I went through that. Many years ago, I was in a relationship with somebody where we were off and on for a couple of years, just off and on. And it was just like, it didn't matter what I did, nothing was good enough. I was always accused of trying to cheat or trying to see somebody else, but that's what they were doing. See what? And I caught them. You know what I'm saying? But when I caught them, oh right, now they sad. Now they're crying. Now you know what I mean. I'm the bad guy because I called them out. You know what I mean? but now, you know, but there came a point where I got so frustrated, because I felt like I kept trying to have to prove to them, I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like your exes. I'm not here to use you. I'm not here to abuse you. I'm not here to manipulate you. I actually really care. I'm not trying to see somebody behind your back. Blah, 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 blah. And it just got to the point where they had so much control and access, and I had no boundaries, but they had all the boundaries and see what I'm saying? And so after a while, I got so frustrated, and I remember one day I just had it out with him, and I was just like, you know, when is it going to be enough? When am I going to be at a point where I no longer have to try to prove something to you? Because I'm thinking by now, if I hadn't proved nothing, then I ain't ever going to prove nothing to you. Surely by now you get it. And I'm thinking, you know, when am I going to be able to stop having to prove something to you? And they just got mad and yelled, I don't know. So there was, if nothing else woke me up, that did right there. Because why? Because listen, that right there really is just, it's no different than a manipulative maybe. If you think about it, it's like asking somebody, when are you going to stop treating me like garbage? They can't even say, I don't treat you like garbage. All they can say is, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's similar to that right there. When are you going to do right by me? Maybe I will one day. Maybe, you know, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, but you get what I'm saying? It's similar. It's a similar concept. It's a similar concept. So C, here's another example of guilt through false victimhood. They say things like, you can't make up your mind, or you're too wishy-washy. Right? You can't make up your mind. You can't make up your mind what you want. Now they're telling you, now that you've given them, see, you were yes this whole time, right? But then when you give them a no, I don't want this no more. Now all of a sudden, you need to make up your mind. You can't make your mind up. Make your mind. Make your mind. Make your mind. Here we go. again. Manipulative maybe. Make your mind. Right? And then wishy-washy. Now y'all probably thinking, wait, those are not M's, those are W's. Okay, yeah, but all a W is an M turned upside down. So it's the same thing technically. Just go along with it, okay? so here it is. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. It's not that your mind wasn't made up though. You just changed your mind. And rightfully so, but they just look at it as you being double-minded, you being wishy-washy. You can't make your mind up. 1 minute you're yes, the next you're no. So you say no and you walk away and they reel you back in, right? Right? They finally admit to their wrongdoings when you walk out, but you find out if you go back to them that they just said it to get you back, because once they got you back, give them about a week or two, they're going to be right back to how they were before you left. See what I'm saying? So then you get tired and you're like, no, this is, I'm for real. I'm out for real this time. Last time I felt bad about leaving. Now I don't feel bad at all, because I know I'm gonna feel real good when I get the heck up out of here. I ain't gonna cry no tears. Listen, Mary J. Blige, I'm not gonna cry no more, right? You just turned into Mary J. Blige singing about how you not gonna shed one tear. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed one tear. You ready to get out? And they tell you even more. You're wishy-washy. You can't make your mind up. That's your problem. That's the reason why this relationship was the way that it was. That's the reason why I was the way that I was, because you can't make up your mind. So they use that to try to say that you can't make your mind up, and then they take you not making your mind up as the reason for why the relationship was the way that it was. Well, the reason why things have dragged out to this point is because you can't make up your mind. But they were the ones that couldn't give you a yes or a no ever. Everything was always a manipulative maybe. Anyway, so now let me get down to the nitty gritty of this so I can wrap this up. So back to this verse in Exodus 22:1. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I said there was something I was going to show you interesting in this that you may not catch at first. It has to do with the word vex. I told you what it meant. I told you what the Hebrew word that it was translated from meant, but I didn't tell you what the actual Hebrew word was that vex is translated from. The Hebrew word, check this out, y'all, that vex is translated from in this particular verse is a Hebrew word that is pronounced y'all know. Y'all know. And when I read it, maybe y'all aren't catching what I'm about to show you, but I guess it's one of those things where you have to see it and read it and then catch it. Because I'm a real visual person, you know. I'm real good at faces. Not the best with names, but real good with faces. When I read it, when I saw it, and I saw how it looked, it made me think of how when we say, yeah, nah. Right? Like saying yes and no at the same time. Like when somebody asks you something, and to be a smart aleck, you go, yeah, nah. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Right? You know how some people do that just to be a smart aleck? They act like they're saying yes, but then they hurry up and say no at the end. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. That's going to be a no. Yeah, no. Get it? Y'all know? Yeah, no. That's what that Hebrew word kind of sounds like. It's like telling somebody yes and no at the same time. It sounds like someone being wishy-washy and being double-minded, which is what the manipulative maybe really is. It's a yeah, no. So now you see where I get it from. So that's why I'm using this verse, because listen, what they're doing when you leave and they try to guilt you, What they're really saying is this. What they're actually saying is, you've done me wrong. You are vexing me. You're doing me wrong, because that's one of the definitions of vexing. You did me wrong. You can't make up your mind. You can't give me a yes or a no. You gave me a yeah, no. But what they're failing to realize is, this whole time, the whole relationship, they've been vexing you. They've been doing you wrong. They've been giving you a yeah, no. They done that the whole relationship. They've been doing you wrong the whole time. Them and their friends been laughing and giggling and sniffling the whole time, getting all their kikis in, right? Sounding like some little old baby monkeys, right? Going after some bananas, and now, and now they crazy self got you, the finest banana on the street, but they can't appreciate you because they done had all these other raggedy bananas. I'm just making up some goofy stuff now, but anyway, you get my point. So they've been doing you wrong. They crazy. And talk about slipping on a banana peel. They done slipped up and let you go. That now I'm just being extra silly now. Anyway, but they let you go. You done walked out. You slided out like a banana now. And now you're the bad guy. Now you're the one that's been vexing and doing them wrong. Now you're the one that's been giving them the yeah, no. They've been doing that the whole time, but they refuse to see that, because if they see that, now they have to admit that you're the victim and they're the villain, and they can't have that. Can't have it. Can't have it. They don't want to admit that they care about what other people think so much, which is why that's why they never could be fully happy with the relationship. They're caring about what their so-called friends and the people in the background think or say. So when their friends started kikiing, they couldn't stand up for you. They couldn't stand up for the relationship. They didn't want to be laughed at too. Come on. They let their insecurities get the best of them, but they act like they got it all together. And so now they're setting themselves up to miss out on someone great. So they just sitting there all they hear. Now that you left, all they can do now is sit around and listen to everybody. Anyway. That's good right there. Well, I'm enjoying this with myself. Y'all ain't gotta enjoy it. Y'all ain't gotta watch it if y'all want to. Y'all ain't gonna hurt my feelings, because I'm enjoying this. This might be one of the first sermons in a long time I've done where I might just listen to it again myself. I might just listen to it myself just because I didn't crack myself up this much. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch this. I gotta do a replay. I gotta have instant replay of this one. This is funny. Well, I ain't gotta watch TV. I just watch a sermon. That's it. I just entertain myself. That's all right. Bless my heart. Anyway. But yeah, so that's why I chose that verse. That's why I emphasize that word vex. Because that Hebrew word, that's what it sounds like. Y'all know. You know. Yeah, no. You know. They act like you gave them the yeah, no. Like you couldn't make up your mind. They've been doing it the whole so-called relationship. And for some folks, it's not a relationship. It's a situationship. You're in with somebody. Come on. So, if you really want to figure out how to go about this in a biblical sense, I'll wrap this up by using Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. When you say goodbye, show them this verse. And this is in red, so this is what Jesus said. He said this. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh evil. So what is he saying? Let your communication be yes, yes, or no, no, because anything else is just evil. And that's what the relationship has been. It's been evil. And I love how communication, and I mentioned this verse in another sermon where I was talking about how communication is the key word in this verse. Yeah, because they've lacked communication on their end. They say the most to you when they're going off on you about how you haven't proven nothing enough to them that you're the real deal, or how you did something wrong. They thought you were going to do it this way and you did it that way, and oh, you did me wrong, and oh, that's when they want to talk. But other than that, they just listening to you. They just watching you entertain them. It's just lack of communication on their end. That's it. It's just lack of communication. You're doing all the talking. All they can do is tell you what's going wrong, and then some of them won't even do that. They want you to read their mind and figure it out, and then when you can't, then they blow up and tell you what the problem is, and then you're really confused because you're thinking, man, I was supposed to figure that out. But you got to tell them, listen, since now you want to communicate and tell me, and really talk to me now that I'm leaving, since now you want to communicate, since now you want to have proper communication skills that you should already have as an adult. Come on. As an adult, let me emphasize that. Not a child anymore. When I was a child, I acted like a child and spoke as a child, but now that I'm an adult, never mind. So tell them, let your communication, now that you want to actually communicate, let your communication be yes or no. Not no more manipulative maybes. Because anything else is evil coming out of your mouth. From now on in your future relationships, because it ain't going to be with me. From now on in your future relationships, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Quit with these manipulative maybes. Make up your mind, and then later, way after the fact and after the relationship, you ain't got to worry about trying to tell somebody else how they, come on, should say just yes or just no, or say what you mean the first time, and you don't have to do all that. Don't do it wrong for so long and then get mad when you feel like somebody's doing you wrong and don't want to do you right. So, with all that said, I just read to you what Jesus would probably say in a situation like that. So it's one of those what would Jesus do moments. WWJD, as we used to say. What would Jesus do? So now you know. Well, now you know what Jesus would do. Shut them down. That's what he'd do. He'd shut them down and tell them, listen, communicate and let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Let's move on. Because anything else is evil. And you have been evilly done wrong, whoever may need this message. Or as I talked about in the last sermon I talked about, I used that phrase shamefully handled. Remember that? If you heard the last sermon I did, well, I guess this applies to whoever may need to hear this sermon. You've been shamefully handled by somebody, but in a manipulative relationship. And it's just time to move on. And now you've heard what Jesus would say about it. And that's all I got for you. And hey, Jesus, what Jesus says is all that matters. He's your Lord and Savior, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But he said, hey, listen, why call me Lord if you don't do what I say? So, it's all about what he says. That person you're in a manipulation, that would be a good way to say it, manipulationship. That person you're in a manipulationship with, or in and out of a manipulationship with, just let it go. Cut ties, move forward. Because what they're trying to be is be your Lord. They're not your Lord and they definitely ain't your Savior, but they do need one, and it's Jesus, not you. So there it is. So I'll pray us out of here. Heavenly Father, I thank you for another time to minister another word. Lord, I pray that those who would need these or need this message, that they would tune in, that they would hear it, Lord, that they would receive it to the point where they would have enough respect and love for themselves that they would want to get out of this manipulative, deceitful relationship and see how they're being played. And also see, though, that they don't deserve that, but that they deserve better, Lord. And that, Lord, what they really need more than anything else is you, but even more so, what their new ex needs is not that person, but you as well, Lord. Lord, I pray that your people, all your people, will get to a place where they would turn away from fortune telling and sorcery and anything of that nature at all. That your people would get to a place of repentance when it comes to those things. That we would get to a place of repentance when it comes to manipulationships and situationships. And that we would just continue to seek you. And then when a good one comes along, that we would embrace the good ones and not be so quick to reject them, because we're used to the ones that vex us and do us wrong. Lord, help us be people that are willing to break the cycle of getting in relationships where we're only manipulated and vexed the whole time. But Lord, that we end up with someone who would love us and do us right and not wrong, and that we would not be so used to being done wrong that when someone does us right, we push them away out of fear that they will one day in fact do us wrong. Lord, I just give you all the praise, glory, and honor. You are the one that will never do us wrong, never leave us or forsake us. You're the one that will always be there when everyone else leaves. And I give you all the praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.